sweep the back line here with the Dustclops. Tons of health left.
He is tapping those ghost bubbles, so focused. Just needs one more Shadow Punch to close out this game. Korlash has a lot of energy. Gonna throw the Shadow Punch, or sorry, gonna throw the Play Rough here when he's almost at 100 energy, but there's no way you can knock out this Dustclops.
You can see the sportsmanship from both players. A little weak there, a little GG's as well. They know that this match is over. Astronaut taking the 2-0 victory over the two-time champion LNDS Korlash in this winners finals. So I gotta say, if you ask anyone that doesn't follow the competitive Pokemon Go circuit and you see Astronaut, right, and you just tell him, hey, this guy's going to a lot of tournaments. He's never won a regional. He's never won an international. He's never won worlds. But he's about to face someone that's won multiple regionals, and this is not the first time, right? He faces multiple players that are champions of multiple tournaments. But honestly, like a lot of times you look at it, he doesn't look like the underdog in those situations.
Yeah, he is so confident with his plays. I mean, you know, we're looking at these games thinking, how does he win this? He's so weak to all of the Pokemon on the other team, but he just pulls wins out of nowhere. It's like you said last year watching NAIC, maybe the top 3 match, just pulling wins out of nowhere, and you know, right there we see those skills paying off as he advances to day 2.
Yeah, I remember the first time I really took note of him was he was on day number 2, and I was just like, maybe this is a fluke, right? Maybe he had some easier brackets, he really snuck through and stuff, but then he had a Mantine against a Charger Bug, and he somehow won that game, locked in there. I was like, how do you win these games? But I've been asking myself that question every single day since, even in this series too. And I know that, you know, we probably don't have the time to interview him here today. We'll probably hear from him tomorrow. But if he were to give anyone a shout out, I'm sure he's giving a shout out to Eomero for that team building. Eomero, of course, made a very far run as well. I'm not actually sure how that losers bracket went for Eomero, but either way, a very solid finish for Eomero and helping Astronaut get a solid finish here in NAIC as well.
All right, well, that was a fantastic match. I don't think we even knew what the outcomes were going to be, so let's take a quick look back. Dustclops goes down there, and Astronaut, of course, just powering through that first game with this Golisopod, pacing so quickly to those Aqua Jets.
I mean, also, we have barely seen Golisopod in the tournament. We saw one from Ashura earlier. I don't know if we've seen any other ones on the bracket. I'm sure there are a few others in the tournament, but not even top 12 in usage. I mean, Sableye nowhere in the usage either, in my opinion, but just piloting these Pokemon so well, too. And again, his team was so weak to Mana Buzz, but he's bringing, like, Ghost types, a Mirror, and a Bug into teams that have Mana Buzz and somehow find the win.
And I love how confident he is. He knows exactly what he needs out of each Pokemon in each matchup, right? Like, just now when the Mandibuzz took out the Drapion, he pumped his fist when the Drapion went down, even though his Mandibuzz went down as well, right? He knew that he just needs to get rid of the energy on the Drapion.
Yeah, that's right. Well, big congrats to Astronaut. He definitely missed out on NAIC, the title last season, right? Took Pocket to game number 5 in the winners finals, went down to losers, took a 3-0 victory over LNDS Steiner, but then unfortunately got swept by Out of Pocket right away. He's looking for redemption. He's still looking for that first place title, and he's getting one step closer. I mean, anyone watching this, I'd be a little nervous if Astronaut's sitting across the table from me, but I'm not really making far enough to see him for the most part. We have another star-studded matchup here. It's going to be Richie versus Boglish. Richie got 3rd place at LEIC this year and has also won a regional this season. Won Charlotte as well 2 years ago when he went to Yokohama. Has probably plenty of other medals that I'm forgetting. Is going against Boglish, who breakout season for Boglish, got a 4th place in Sacramento, has a lot of numerous other multiple top cuts. And I was looking at the bracket earlier, Boglish hasn't dropped a single game at NAIC so far. I've seen him in a lot of practice tournaments. He's just putting in the work, and it's really paying off.
Yeah, Boglish is definitely a trader kind of, I would say, I mean, not even up and coming, because like you said, he's made some top cuts, but definitely on the rise.
Yes.
Richie, on the other hand, like you said, regional champion in Charlotte, I think that was actually 2 years ago at this point, which is hard to believe.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then had such an amazing season this year as well. So, you know, Richie, you know, all these really talented trainers from Latin America coming to NAIC, making day 2, you know, trying to repeat the strong performances that they had last year. So let's take a look at these Pokemon quickly, though, before these trainers lock in.
Yeah, we have the Cordeli, the Shadow Annihilate, the Digger's Beat, Jellicent, the Dene, and Mandibuzz on the side of Richie's team. And, you know, I think Jellicent was seen as a really strong pick early on in Delightful Days meta, but as the days progressed, people started opting for Dustclops, maybe even Galarian Corsola, a few Sableye even, because they just realized that Jellicent typically loses those head-to-head against the other Ghost types. On top of it, you're also weak to the Dene, which seems to be everywhere as well on these teams. But funny enough, both players are actually bringing Jellicent in this matchup.
Yeah, it's one of those Pokemon like Diggersby that didn't get a direct buff from the move update, but based on kind of the Pokemon that were rising, right, all the Fury Cutter users, people really started looking at those ghost types. You mentioned, you know, Pokemon like Dusclops, Corsola, and then of course Jellicent in the conversation as well. So yeah, both of these trainers opting for the Jellicent here, maybe thinking that it does a little bit better than, versus Diggersby than some of those other ghost types because it has, of course, the water type damage.
And Boglish running the exact same team as Richie, except it's a Shadow Scizor instead of a Shadow Nightlip. Obviously, Shadow Nightlip is going to win that head-to-head matchup if they're shields. But Shadow Scizor is a little bit safer, I think, into Richie's team than a Nightlip is, because a Nightlip has to watch out for the Mana Buzz, you have to watch out for the Dedenne, you have to watch out for the Jellicent. Shadow Scizor, though, fantastic into Dedenne. You have plenty of play into Mana Buzz, even though you're only throwing resisted charge attacks, and you could grab shields and even flip matchups against Jellicent. So this Shadow Scizor could be a huge problem for Richie. Obviously also beats the Credility, let's not forget about that. And against Diggersby, it's really not that bad once you land a Trailblaze. So Richie may have to be forced to either bring a lot of Diggersby or even risk bringing the Nightlip and risk it being in a bad matchup against Boglish's team. And having played Boglish personally, he's not an easy person to play into because he'll just bring, if he brings something like a Shadow Scizor, you best bet that he has answers to anything that counter Scizor on your team. I mean, obviously that's like what a lot of good players do, but there's something about when you face Boglish, at least my experience, is that I know what's in the back and I still can't win. I feel like I know exactly what he's bringing, and once I see that lead matchup, I'm like, yeah, this match is over.
All right, well, I'm curious to see what Boglish decides to pair with the Shadow Scizor. Although, you know, we've had a couple matchups already where we're like, the Shadow Scizor, and then we never see it on the field. So let's see if Boglish decides to bring that high-octane Pokemon to the field versus Richie.
All right, let's see if Boglish can continue his undefeated streak. We've had some interesting undefeated streaks in past international. I think C's Wild was undefeated going into, like, day number 3, I think, of EUIC, which is kind of wild as well. And you can see Boglish trying to do his best impression of Zwiles. Maybe a few other players made day 2 as well, undefeated on an undefeated streak. But I know only for sure that Boglish is the one that I'm confident that I can say that. Here we go. Game number 1 is going to be the Credility into the Jellicent. This is not the worst matchup for Jellicent now that most Credility are running Acid, and Richie's Credility is running that Acid.
Richie going straight for the Rock Tomb, probably knows that one Grass Knot isn't going to be enough to take out the Jellicent. And if you need 2 charge attacks, why not start by dropping the attack of the opposing Jellicent?
Yeah, and I think in this situation too, one, Grass Knot's not enough anyway, so it's a very safe Rock Tomb to throw. Surprisingly, Boglish does shield it right away. I think most players opt for Rock Tomb, but maybe thinking, oh, Richie might just chip and then dip and do a lot of super effect damage. That's always a possibility here. But this is where it gets awkward, right? I mean, Richie, his Credility is quite low at this point in time too. Boglish could potentially even catch a move here. Let's see if he does that. It's much harder to catch when you're using the 3-turn user, and in comes the super effective Grass Knot. Does Boglish decide to shield this Jellicent? No, not going to be the case.
Yeah, I mean, you see that Shadow Scizor in the back. He brings it in right here, trying to snipe, but Richie reacts quickly, brings in the Diggersby, and the Diggersby, of course, you know, up his shields here, probably going to be able to land a Fire Punch if it really wants to.
Yeah, Richie's reaction time's really fast there, too. I think a lot of players might just let the Credility go down, trying to figure out, do you bring the Diggersby or the Mana Buzz? Both decent options into this Shadow Scizor. But Boglish going to shield up. He's down shields now, so now Richie can easily play this out. You just one-shot this with a Fire Punch, just throw right before they get to the next move.
Yeah, and Richie does get there before the Night Slash. Just going to throw it right away, not playing around. Wants to get this Shadow Scizor off the field as soon as possible. And all of a sudden, Boglish pretty much down, you know, 2 Pokemon here.
This is a tough position, too. I mean, there's no easy way to finish off the Diggersby. I don't think there's much energy on the Jellicent at this point, and Credility is throwing resisted Acid as well. What a weird situation where Credility is worried about a Diggersby. That's the world we live in right now. Is going to reach. Oh, neither player's actually throwing the moves right away, too. Richie may be thinking that there might be a catch coming, and Boglish may be worried about the same exact thing.
Boglish going to let the Scorching Sands go as he doesn't have any shields left. So going to continue to farm up almost at 100 energy. Perfect opportunity for a catch, and Richie takes it, catching the grass knot on his very low health Cradily.
Yeah, you got even Boglish smiling and saying good catch on that one too. Really fantastic timing.
Oh my god.
Debuff the Cradily for starters. Now catches the grass knot on a Cradily with very little health. Fantastic catch from Richie, but there's still energy on this Cradily, and this is not going to be a fantastic situation for the Mana Bus, but you still have a shield and you still have a lot of health.
And the great thing here for Richie is that you have, a switch. Well, not anymore because you just made the catch, of course. But eventually down the line, you could switch, clear these Rock Tomb debuffs if you really, really needed to. But I'm not even sure you're going to need to because Mandibuzz here, you saw how easily it took that first Rock Tomb. So you probably just need to land, a debuffed charge attack on this Cradily.
Yeah, I like this play from Richie as well, too. I mean, you know that the acid is not going to be enough quite yet, so you could safely just no shield here. Oh, instantly throws the Dark Pulse. I like this play. A lot of players thinking that players will go for the optimization, throw for one more air slash, allowing you to throw acid, then swap. Instead, doesn't want to give Boglish a chance here. He has a lot of energy loaded at this point in time. Is going to throw the Fire Punch before the move is reached. He still has a shield left. Very dominant performance from Richie. He's going to end Boglish's undefeated streak so far at NAIC.
Jellicent is Boglish's last hope, but Richie's Diggersby is already at the Fire Punch. He's going to take this 1-0 very cleanly, and like you said, take the first game off of Boglish here.
All right, Richie feeling good about it as well. Boglish is not out of it yet, though. He might have lost a game, but he has not lost a series. Winner of this series will go into day number 2 on that winner's side. Doesn't have to play any more battles. The loser will be facing off against someone in that loser's bracket. Let me see if I can figure out exactly who that is, because I'm sure that person's been waiting for quite a while, too.
All right, well, I'll take a look at Richie's team in the meantime. We already saw, of course, the Cradily on the field. The Diggersby, of course, really kind of needs to be there to counter the Shadow Scizor. And then, of course, the Mandibuzz at the end of the game there for Richie. I'm not sure about these other 3 Pokemon that he left on the bench. You talked about the Shadow Annihilape, not quite as safe as Boglish's Scizor, but we've seen Shadow Annihilape really tear through some teams today, so that could be an option for Richie too.
All right, I have the info. It's actually Firestar that's waiting on the loser of this match to see who will be making into day number 2. Both these players, though, don't want to be in that position. They don't want to have to play another series. They don't want to be on that loser side here. As you see, all smiles from Boglish as well, too. When you get caught like that in those situations, you gotta just give it up to your opponent, right? Fantastic plays from Richie, and of course, great sportsmanship from Boglish.
Yeah, and Richie, kind of anticipating that Boglish is going to throw when he's close to 100 energy because Boglish doesn't want to waste any fast attacks. He doesn't want to waste any energy. And, being able to read, top players like that is a skill that top players themselves have.
Yeah, and it's a great play from Richie, too, because he had a shield remaining. So even if Boglish threw a little bit sooner, if he wanted to preserve the energy and the health on the Diggersby, he could have shielded, knowing that Boglish is not at the back-to-back grass knot. So really great play, but just extended his lead even further by making that catch.
Absolutely, and we saw how dominant the ending of that game looked, but of course it didn't look that dominant before he made the catch. But of course, Richie, very seasoned player, even on these big stages, been top 3 at an IC before, maybe looking to reach that and go even further this time.
I think Boglish had the right idea in that series, in the sense that, Shadow Scizor looks pretty strong to Richie's team. Hard to bring that Annihilate, right? So probably forced to bring the Diggersby. I think the only slight misstep there is that he shielded that Jellicent. The moment you shield that Jellicent, you're at a shield deficit, and that makes the matchup even easier for Richie to deal with that Scizor, and then after that, you just have a Cradily, and he had to still go down a shield even to do any damage to that Diggersby. Here we go, game number 2 here. A fantastic lead for Richie as he is going to try to punch his way through this Scizor. Look at the Scizor health, already less than half.
Yeah, I don't even know if Boglish is going to be able to reach another Night Slash. If you're Richie here, you can just counter down, or maybe if you want to try pulling shields, you can also just Rage Fist right away. Looks like he's reaching for the Rage Fist. He doesn't know about Boglish's 3rd Pokemon yet, but he knows that this Annihilate can do a lot of damage. Boglish shielding this up. Does he actually make another Night Slash?
I don't think he does, but he does get some decent damage off. I don't know if it's worth it or not, though, too. Now, Cradily could deal with this a little bit better because you have Acid for it, but I think Boglish is going to bring the Mandibuzz. Here's the thing, though. I don't even think Boglish's switch time's up yet, so if he brings in the Mandibuzz, he's going to be stuck in this matchup with something else here, as Richie is going to reach for a move. Oh, wait, no, it's a Snarl Mandibuzz. This is a lot better for Richie's Annihilate, and now he's going to get a boosted Ice Punch off.
All right, well, it's not all bad news for Boglish because both of these Pokemon, Mandibuzz and Cradily, have a lot of play into Richie's remaining Pokemon, although I don't know how much of the Mandibuzz is going to be left after this, already almost at 25% health. I think Richie probably is going to come in with a Diggersby, try to absorb this energy so that the Jellicent doesn't have to.
Yeah, this Diggersby has a lot of health left on it. one shield apiece on both these players. The Baga is just going to really have to carry with the Credilli. And generally speaking, if this was Bold Sea Credilli, no problem, right? Maybe not no problem, but a lot easier situation to deal with. Unfortunately, this is Acid Credilli, and that's resisted damage on both the Diggersby and the Jellicent. Jellicent still has a lot of health. We saw how close that matchup was earlier. He can even go for a debuff. If there's a debuff here, that's insult to injury for Bogda's Credilli.
Yeah, and the other thing, not only are you not Bullet Seed, but you want to be throwing, Rock Tombs ideally if you want to have the most dominant matchups possible. Because even this matchup, we said earlier, Grass Knot is not going to knock out. And you see how low this Credilli is getting from these hexes, almost in Shadow Ball range probably.
He does go straight for the Grass Knot. I don't think Richie's going to shield, is going to let it go. I mean, he knows he can't get the Acid down here. Baku still has a shield. I mean, do you shield? I guess you have to shield the potential Shadow Ball here. It's really awkward positioning because it's going to just be a Surf and forcing Bogda's to shield. And now another Surf's going to be reached before the move is there. In comes another one. Actually, Richie going to tap away and try to get to the Shadow Ball instead. It's going to be a debuff Shadow Ball, though.
Yeah, this is actually Rock Tomb coming through, not a Grass Knot, because, of course, the Jellicent is very low at this point.
Oh,
so
wait.
What?
Oh, no. It wasn't a catch, though, but, it was great patience. You can see Boggers even saying the GGs already. I mean, I just realized there's still Mana Buzz, but unfortunately just doesn't have any health left on it. Going to clear the debuff now on the Jellicent and just put this in Surf range. You kind of can't overfarm this if you're Boglish. I mean, even if you throw this, if you undercharge, it's bad because the Scorching Sand come through, and if you throw it all the way, the Jellicent still has to move.
All right, well, Grass not going to knock out the Diggersby, but like you said, Jellicent has so much energy. Actually getting quite low in health, though, but the Shadow Ball is going to come through. Richie sees the victory coming for him. Shadow Ball is going to land on the Credilli and take this series for Richie 2-0.
All right, what a great showmanship from both players here, too. Almost mirror match teams there, but unfortunately, Shadow Scizor was just not able to overcome the Shadow Nightlife. And Richie, despite the fact that Shadow Nightlife is really hard to bring into Bogda's team, position it in the perfect position there. And again, the Snarl Mana Buzz is super peculiar from Boglish. I actually really think it's interesting because Boglish tends to go slightly off meta. And something I remember very poignantly is that in Sacramento, when he got fourth place, he was running Air Slash Mana Buzz. Back when a lot of people were running Snarl Mana Buzz. And now that everyone's running Air Slash Mana Buzz, he's running Snarl Mana Buzz.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from him what the reasoning is for the fast attack on the Mana Buzz. But, not every team is the same. Some teams, you really need that flying type coverage from the Air Slash. Maybe Boglish's team, he's thinking he prefers kind of having Snarl for a better Ghost type matchup. So, I'd love to pick his brain afterwards, of course. But, Boglish, of course, down but not out. He's going to go to that loser's side of the bracket. Can still fight his way to day 2.
Yeah, be sure to follow along the bracket to see how that matchup goes. We may see him tomorrow, or we may see Firestar. They will be going head-to-head in that loose bracket. I believe that might be the last matchup that will probably be played off-stream of the day 1. But what a fantastic day of battle, Soph.
Yeah, absolutely. So many great battles. Of course, we saw almost all of the winners finals on stream, and I felt like the battles just were getting better and better as the day went on. You see, okay, here's something that's interesting.
Okay.
We saw a lot of catches in those earlier games, but they weren't always impactful catches, right? They were catches that lock you into disadvantageous matchups. But, in these later games, we see so much clean gameplay. Everyone's counting perfectly, everyone's throwing on good timing, and everyone's making catches that really kind of flip games in their advantage.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and yeah, in some of those situations, I don't know, we just see very high-level plays, right? And something I noticed a lot was there's a lot of patience too, right? A lot of players trying to go for the catches, but the very experienced players just being patient there and not doing it, not throwing those moves. We saw that from a lot of high-level players. I'm curious to see what our co-casters have to think about today's match, so let's head over to the lounge and hear their thoughts.
So much, Caleb. It was a delightful day here at the North American International Championships. Now, Friday is in the books. I'm going to ask my co-casters here, what is your biggest takeaway from this brand new meta at the tail end of the season? I'm going to start with you, Wholesome.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just trainers that are trying to play safe, but I think that a lot of the Pokemon that we were expecting to be good, they are good. The Dusclops, the Diggersby, the Shadow Scizor, even the Credilli in some cases. But there's been a couple surprises for me. For me, that's been the Greninja that we've seen from a lot of the EU players, as well as the Shadow Annihilate. Of course, it's been good, but I wasn't expecting it to be this good in the current meta.
And I've just been eyeing so many of those Dedenne. The parabolic charge makes it so good because it keeps increasing its defense. You think it's a fragile Pokemon, but at some point it just seems to be impossible to run through that Pokemon.
And it's been so good? these trainers. Let's look at that winner's side of the bracket. Like So said, we got most of those on stream. Tomorrow, of course, we're going to have T. Wastel versus Toad. Paddleman versus ZZ. That is a rematch.
Yeah.
From EUIC Grand Finals, indeed, two Europeans facing off against each other at the North America International Championships. The irony.
Absolutely. And then throughout the list, I mean, so many big names. Is there any other? Oh, wait, hold on a second. Look at the last two there. We got It's Axton versus Ashton Ash.
Yeah, we have It's Axton, who's on an absolute heater. He's going to be facing off versus Ashton Ash, who's been playing very well as well. And there's a story for Ashton Ash here. He took second place at NAIC last year. With Pocket now out of the way, he is our top trainer, still remaining from last year.
And I believe we did have one of those matchups, but I got a good reporter here. What was that one matchup that we didn't see on stream that was in that top 16 right there?
One that I want to call out is a hometown hero, a local from Baton Rouge, actually attending LSU. That's going to be the Masked Asian. He's going to be facing off tomorrow as well. Don't forget, he actually top cut in day 2 last year at 2024 NAIC. Not a trainer that we see throughout the circuit too much, but he is playing here basically in his hometown, and he is on the winner's side of the bracket.
Can that hometown hero finish it off in Championship Sunday? But first, to do that, they have to do well tomorrow. And the start time tomorrow is what, Inadequence?
That's gonna be 7 a.m. Pacific time on this exact channel right here. We'll be here all weekend with you. And yeah, make sure that you don't miss any of the action. Tune in tomorrow and make sure that you follow along with us. Post on social media, and we might just feature you as well.
Yeah, and make sure to follow every single channel so you can keep up with all the action. We have a special hashtag, of course, hashtag Pokemon NAIC. We would love to hear from you, feature you. What are your experiences like? Who do you think is going to win it all? Who's going to hold that trophy? Who's going to win between the matchup of ZZ versus Paddleman tomorrow? That one is one I am fascinated with. And one more thing before we leave. We have a special surprise. We got some drops.
Yeah, that's right. Whether you're watching Just Go or all of the games, there's great ways to follow along at home. I think specifically what I'm most excited about is going to be getting access to that exclusive Mandibuzz and Charge TM. Don't forget, this is going to be the specific Mandibuzz from Patamon, our EUIC winner. Yeah, a Pokemon that has had tons of success not only in previous seasons, but we're seeing it have success here in the Delightful Days season as well. But don't forget that exclusive Charge TM as well. I know that's Elite Charge TM, that is, yeah.
A very useful item indeed, but not just for Pokemon Go, also for the trading card game live. You can get these exclusive art cards. This is just lovely to see that we have here at the the North America International Championships.
Oh, we got a little European going on here as well.
Yeah, a little Freudian slip there from the European.
Absolutely. Well, continuing on with the TCG, of course, we have those Rocket cards as well. But don't forget, you can also get your Ogerpon cards as well. Make sure you guys watch and get those Twitch drops here on that's the Pokemon TCG channel. We went through Go as well, but we've got some other game rewards as well. We can continue moving along. We have both Unite as well as VG.
Yeah, for VG we have Incineroar, Wolfie Glick, and Incineroar. Name a more iconic duo. You can't, because this is that Incineroar that he won the Europe International Championship with.
Maybe later it's going to be ZZ Wireless and Shadow Sizor if he wins it all here at the North American International Championships.
Iconic pair for sure. Make sure that you guys use that code NAIC Cone Parish.
All right. Was an amazing day number 1. I'm going to go down the line one more time. Your final thoughts. What was most fun for you? I know I got mine, but Inadequates, what was the most fun thing in this Delightful Days meta here at the North American International Championships?
Just so many of the matches we saw, and we actually saw a colleague of us, Alpha Thief, getting to day 2 as well. So a lot of exciting trainers to see, some exciting action, and I love to tell everyone, I told you so. Wigglytuff has a place in this meta. It's looking so good into many of these teams, I'm telling you. Greninja, Ghost-type Pokemon, Annihilate,
Shadow Scissor.
Okay, let's leave that elsewhere.
Yeah, I think for me, you know, there's a lot of matchups that we were seeing today that had double resisted fast attack pressure. We can maybe glaze over some of those, but some of our attackers, will say, the Pokemon that are based around fast attack pressure, the Shadow Scizor, the Shadow Annihilate, Pokemon like that, they were a lot of fun to watch, and just seeing how you can really force your way through some of these matchups and set up some really unpredictable outcomes.
I'm on the exact same page as you, Wholesome. I love the playstyle of Shadow Scizor in particular. It's been a long time since we've had a Pokemon on the main stage with that type of archetype, that type of playstyle be so functionally impressive. I can't wait to see what these trainers can do with it on Saturday. That's it for us here. What an amazing day number 1. Make sure to tune in tomorrow. We'll see you there.
طبعا ما جاء متأكد. كيف تعلق في الجدار وانت اصلا توك ماخذ ريست؟ ايش تبي في الجدار؟ حتى ما يعطيك ريست دائما زي السي. صار معيش حقا إذا مفقود الأمل من اللعبة. ما واحد يتابع بس بسجل وشوف زين. بس شوطة واحدة حلوة. ليل يا ليل لا تجي ما تجيش. كنت اسوي ستار بالجهة الثانية. كنت اسوي ستار من الجهة الثانية يا ولد. اللخمة ما في ريزة. بكسر الجهاز. Get out. ريست. اسطورة. طيب يلعن ام الفلة. والأم هذا. اوكي التورنمنت شكلها بدأت ننتبه. اوكي عندنا ناس شكلهم مو هادي. يا اخي ريست